Okay, welcome back. Today is it's Thursday, April, I don't know, 16th or 17th, something like that. Thursday, 13th, 14th, 15th, April 16th, 2026. I like to put the date on my videos because when I'm an old man, I'm going to want to go back and watch these videos. So it's kind of a diary for me, and I'm just sharing my diary. But I made a video a few days ago, and I titled it, I believe, "A Great-Hearted Guy." And basically, I talked about the results of a test that was done on my heart. And I mentioned that my CAC score, I believe CAC, according to what I saw online, stands for calcium, artery calcium. But regardless, my CAC score is 720. And I copied and pasted basically the summary or the initial part of the test into an AI. And the AI said, "Oh, you're great, you have nothing to worry about." But this report is a lot more than just a one page. I think the whole thing is about either 3 or 4 pages. So I was looking at it, just scrolling down, and a lot of abbreviations and there were 4 abbreviations with 4 numbers, and those 4 numbers tallied up to 720. But there's a breakdown of the 720. So basically, it pinpointed the exact location of the calcified plaque in my heart. And majority of the calcified plaque out of that 720, majority more than 500, it's located in a particular artery, and it's LAD. So I looked up the meaning of LAD. LAD means left anterior descending artery. LAD. And that's where the majority of the plaque is, more than 500 out of that 720. And there's a nickname for this artery, left anterior descending artery. They call it the widow maker, meaning when a man dies because of the clogging in this artery, the man's wife becomes a widow, hence the widow maker. So that's a very serious situation. Again, my videos are unfiltered. I'm going to give you the truth. I'm not going to portray my life as just the greatest thing on earth, like a lot of influencers do, or YouTubers, whatever you want to call them. I'm not here I don't call myself an influencer. Or I do, maybe. I try to give positive vibes, but I want to give truthful vibes. So if they come off as positive or negative, I don't look at myself as trying to influence anyone. But in a way I am. I want people to feel good. But I want people to have the truth. And the truth can oftentimes make people feel not good. But with that said, I'm never going to stop giving the truth. And as far as a YouTuber, my channel is not monetized. I have no interest in promoting any products. I just want to share my experience and not tell anyone what to do, but having that LAD, left anterior descending artery, with that much plaque it has me at a very high risk of a heart attack. And so, obviously, I'm on the treadmill now and have my 30-pound weight vest on. But what I'm doing is advised. I'm not exerting myself, which exerting myself is ill-advised. That can bring on a heart attack. So, to be safe, I don't know if you have noticed in past videos, but since experiencing heart palpitations on a daily basis, I went back to wearing my medical bracelet. And basically it just simply says that I have a fistula, which to some people it might not be obvious, but hopefully with it being red is kind of the universal color for stop. And it instructs, if I do lose consciousness, I have on here which hospital to go to. And so hopefully an EMT will notice that. And in fact, when I went to the hospital, it was April 10th, it was on a Friday, the treating individual, the one conducting the test, she actually noticed this because they had to inject something into me. And she immediately noticed this and said, "Oh, okay," and then used my right arm. And so she saw it. And not everyone can, but hopefully this gives them a chance to, but what I also do, if I feel the symptoms, if I feel that I might have a heart attack or a myocardial infarction, I think they call it, I have this on my keychain. Here's my keys. This little, like a vial, I unscrew it. There are 4 81 milligram baby aspirins that I can just unscrew it, chew them up. They don't have a bitter taste, and that can potentially save my life. The 4 81 milligram baby aspirins I carry right here on my keychain. And so I'm on a treadmill. I'm not exerting myself. I am exercising my heart, my cardiovascular system, but I cannot, under no circumstances should I be exerting myself. And it's kind of sad that I have to learn this on my own. But the doctor did call me, or someone from his office said, they did say I'm in the 99th percentile of having a heart attack. They didn't give me any restrictions, and that's just, there is a medical responsibility to educate the patients, but because not many patients are like me, not tooting my own horn, but I like to read. I'm on the internet every day reading, learning, trying to learn, and so basically I found out my own restrictions last night reading. And so when I copied and pasted that particular section of the report, again, this is a 3-4 page report. It said very high risk, no exertion, and so no exertion. So I don't consider this exertion. This is moderate walking, and so I would not Normally, I used to go walking up in the mountains, and and but I don't do that anymore because that isolates me, and so I stay here. I'm inside, so if I were to keel over, it's people. I'm familiar with the gym staff. They all know me. And I'm not far. I'm 10 minutes from my hospital. And again, you've heard me say this many times, but I feel very, very blessed to be living here in the middle of the city. This is the most expensive part of Utah and one of the most expensive parts of America to live. These urban areas in America is getting ridiculous. They're just unaffordable for a lot of people. And I got lucky with the condo I bought. I got lucky. I bought the condo with equity. That all but never happens, buying a home with equity. I could have bought it literally. When I bought it, I could have sold it the next day and made thousands of dollars. But I was lucky. Right place, right time. It appeared to be a couple who were going through a separation, divorce, separation, and it was a quick sale. And this guy was in a hurry. It's almost like as if he wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. He had no concern about making money, just getting out of town. That's how I felt about the situation. In fact, at the signing on the closing, the owner didn't even show up. It was someone who represented him. Perhaps a lawyer. I don't know, but there was someone there on the owner's behalf. And I always like to do my due diligence, but I remember before I bought the particular condo, I called the police and wanted to inquire about the history. And they wouldn't give me any details, but they said they had an exceptional amount of responses to the particular unit that my wife and I bought. A lot of responses to that particular unit. And and one of the neighbors, my immediate neighbor at the time, he said, oh man, they were always arguing. And so that kind of gives me the gist of what the situation two people are getting out of. So I feel very thankful, lucky to even live here in the middle of the city. A lot of people live far in the outskirts. And so I feel blessed to be nearby. But yeah, I haven't gone hiking in the mountains in years. And I think once, I remember, after getting diagnosed, my dog and I went walking up in the mountains. And my dog almost got bit by a rattlesnake. My dog did not even notice that rattlesnake. It was coiled up just on the side of the foot trail. My dog did not even notice that rattlesnake. Had my dog noticed it, he would have just lost it. He would have started barking. That snake would have panicked and struck my dog. As far out as we were, there's no way I'd have been able to get my dog to a vet in time. My dog would have died out in the mountains. And when I noticed it, my boot was perfectly even. I'm talking my boot was just inches away from the snake. When I actually saw it, I looked down and I went, whoa. And one thing, a little bit of luck, it was kind of cold that day. And so the snake was cold. It was coiled up. And snakes do not like cold weather. And that snake knew that I was a familiar position for that snake. It was waiting for the sun to get it in position to warm him up. Animals have an internal clock. And he knew he had to wait there for the sun to come and warm him up. But he was cold. And that's why that's one reason why that snake was motionless as my dog and I walked by. And it was kind of defenseless because of the cold. And so, but had my dog started barking, that snake would have built up the energy and struck my dog. It's a rattlesnake. But that was about 2022. Yeah, 2023 maybe. I was still doing dialysis. And last time I walked up in the mountains. And I was so far out. But I will not do that again if I am a major heart attack risk. Because I was very isolated. And so I'm okay. I meet with my doctor, today is Thursday, so next week. Next Tuesday, I meet with my nephrologist, then next Friday, not tomorrow Friday, next Friday, I meet with my cardiologist and we'll talk about it. But the positive thing, if it were that much of an emergency, according to my experience, my cardiologist would have been on the phone with me quickly. I was about to say in a heartbeat, but quickly, he'd have been on the phone with me. Because I remember when I was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, my doctor kept calling me the day after I saw her. And I thought it was a telemarketing call. And I wasn't picking up the phone. And because if I remember correctly, the number wasn't popping up on my caller ID. But it just kept ringing. Pardon me. So I picked it up and she said, "Hey, this is Dr." Can't even remember her name. But you need to go to the hospital right now. And she just said, "Your blood is bad. Go to the hospital right now." And I did, and just they drew blood, didn't say anything. And then I think I shared this story. If not, I'll do a real quick version. But this was a Friday, and then so I get home from the hospital. There's a text message on my phone saying, "Hey, you have a doctor appointment Tuesday," which was 4 days later. And I went to the doctor because I was having difficulty sleeping. My boss said, "Hey, you work a day shift, and I need you night shift." So I had to learn how to adapt to being up all night. So I needed sleeping pills to help me sleep during the day. That's why I went to the doctor. It was a Thursday I did that. And then the Friday, it just happened to be my rare, I don't think I've ever had a Friday off. And I'll just sit by myself, and when she kept calling me. And so, like I said, got the text, and following Tuesday, doctor appointment. And it was kind of a far drive from me, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I pulled in a parking lot, huge, tall sign, big red letters, kidney care. That was my first clue. And I walked in. As soon as I said my name, they just handed me a cup and pointed to the restroom. And I said, "Okay." And gave them the sample. They sat me in this little tiny room. And in a few minutes, the doctor comes in and told me, "You have stage 5 kidney disease, end-stage renal disease, your kidneys are functioning at 4%, yada, yada." And that's how the whole thing started. And I didn't take it serious. So I said, "Well, what happens if I don't do anything?" She said, "Oh, you'll probably be dead in about 2 months. You'll die in your sleep." So that's how my whole journey started. Went from working 12-hour shift to having surgery the following Monday. So anyways, but yeah, that report from my recent heart test, like I said, a more in-depth reading of it it's more than one page. It's, like I said, I think it's 4 pages, and so I'm a serious heart attack risk. So, but obviously, my response to that was to do research. What can be done? And so I am on the statin. I stopped it for a couple of days and for a few days, whatever. And then I said, well, I better start back on it. So I'm back on it, and I do. There are options, good options. In fact, it is medically possible to have all of the plaque removed, and so yeah, that's where I'm at, and a little scary, but at the same time not too scary, because I think we live in a good time medically. Obviously 50 years ago I'd have been dead already, and so there's a way they can go in. It's an outpatient procedure. They can basically it's like imagine a clogged water pipe, a semi-clogged water pipe, or a water pipe that drains slow, and they can unclog it. And there are options. And so, but that's where I'm at. Okay. That's all I feel like talking about today. I'm gonna go back to watching my YouTube videos, and so until then, just be positive. And remember, I spoke about the 5 stages of grief: denial. Let's see, what is it? Anger, bargaining, whatever, and whatever. And the final one is acceptance. I was in denial, and a little bit of disappointment. There's the depression, and the bargaining was like, okay, I'll get back onto the statin, and anyways, I accept it. That's the final stage, stage 5, acceptance. Anyways, you can't escape it. The 5 stages, can't escape it. So I went through it. So anyways, I'm out.